All right, so the entire customization, whatever you want to customize as a form or as a workflow or any suite bundler, bundles that you want to install, everything would come under this customization tab that you see here, right? And then all these things, the lists, record types, custom segments, we've already checked that earlier. Entity fields, item fields, transaction body fields. So all these things, I'm not only going to show you how a form will be customized, I'm also going to show you how you will be able to create the fields. That's the important part of it, right? I mean, along with showing how you move across the fields on a form, I'm going to show you how to create certain fields as well. All right, so either there are two ways of doing this, because NetSuite always gives multiple options. There are two ways of creating the forms. I'm creating the body fields and the forms, everything. So this is the list, records, and fields that you can create. The custom fields on body level, on the line level, and then item fields. Item fields are nothing but the fields that you can create on an item record. Entity fields is a field that you can create on an entity like vendor, customer, partner, contact. All these are called entities, right? And transaction types, you can create your own transaction type as well as a custom record for that matter. So this is how everything is done, and this is where you customize your forms. So last time as well, when we were discussing about these things, I have shown you how to customize. I mean, where do you customize the forms from, right? So these are transaction forms wherein you have sales order, purchase order, work order, right? All these are transactions, inventory transfer, and then adjust inventory. All these are transaction forms, by the way, where you can uh, do this. Now, this is the scripting. So this is for the technical group, wherein you can all do the scripting and then script deployment, scripted records, everything comes as part of this. And this is where you do the workflows. So that's one way of going about it. Now, if let us say you want to create a custom field on your purchase order for that matter, okay? So you go into the purchase order. All right, so that's one way of going into the customized forms. And here, if you see on every form that you go into, let that be a purchase order form or an inventory item form or a non-inventory item form or a sale order form, you will have an option, something called as customize. Okay, so from here, you can click on new body field, or a new column field, or a new item option, wherein you can create your own field of your choice, and you can go into the customized form as well. So this is one way of doing it. Now, if I click on this new body field, I'll show you what opens up. Right? When I do this, the purchase order will by default be selected because I'm going from the purchase order form directly, right? Or if I go into this list records and then go into the transaction body fields and click on new, right? This will also take me to the same form where I can create a new field, but then the purchase order will not be selected by default, right? You have to create a field of your choice and then click on this on these forms that you want to have the field created on, right? So any transaction body field, everything that you see here, a purchase, sale, opportunity, revenue arrangement, journal entry, expense report, transfer order, item receipt, all these things are actually your transactions, right? So on these transactions, you can create your own field that you want to create. So let's do this. I go into this transaction body field, right? Then I can create my own transaction. ID is automatically generated. You don't have to give the ID, but then, I'm just mentioning that as underscore cloud test field of my choice. And then it creates a, it appends its own prefix like cust body underscore cloud test field. That's how it comes up. Okay. And that's the cloud test field. And these are the different types of fields that you can create, right? You either can have a free form text, or you can have hyperlink. You can create this field as an image, wherein you can pull the image from somewhere and then attach it over here. This could be a list record as well, Okay, which means you can create a list of your choice. Let us say I have a list which I can create, right? So this is some of the lists which already exist in the system, right? Or you can create your own custom list as well. List in the sense, there is a drop down for these transactions that you have here. So if you want to create a list of your choice, then you have to go into this list, or you can click on this plus option that you have here, right? There's a new, you can create a list of your choice when you click on this, or you can go into customization, lists, and then lists new. That is where you can go. So I can click on this new, second, right? So a pop-up comes up. Now I say cloud test list, something like that. Okay, then I can add some of the values here. Let us say I want to add, maybe we are inserting the units, let's say, just to be um, as an example, right? Then I can save it. Okay, so here I can pull up this list. Wherever this field comes up on my purchase order, that will appear to me as a list for me to deal with it, right? So as of now, I can select on sale order, purchase order, on journal entry, right? Let's say I want this on my customer payment as well. And I can make these fields mandatory as well. If I want, I can insert this field in front of certain option that I see on the purchase order, right? Where exactly the sub tab it's going to be going into, or after creating of my fields also, I'll be able to move them around. So I'll let you know how to do that. So this is where you can make it mandatory, right? If you click on this mandatory option that I have here, it will be like wherever you go, it becomes a mandatory field. You will not be able to save your record without actually saving it. Okay.
Right. So I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
So will this field be available for reporting?
Field will be available for recording in the sense. Do you want? Okay, you mean to say that in the reporting?
No, no, so what I mean by that is, so let's say I wanted to run like a general ledger report. Will this field show up as a column, or what kind of field are you creating to start with? Is it going to
It
be
does.
like,
So yeah, so you can include this in your reporting structure as well. So whenever you're pulling in a report, right, you will be able to get it as a field that you can pull on the reporting as well. So any custom field that you create can be a part of your reporting structure.
can you quickly show me that?
Oh, yeah, I can show you. Once I create, I'll be able to show you that. Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And then sourcing and filtering, right? You can, once you create one field, you can actually source that onto another record, right? So let us say you have a purchase order form, okay? And the next transaction on a purchase order is your item receipt, right? So you can actually source this field onto an item receipt record as well. Once you create it, when you're doing it on an item receipt, you will be able to source that field onto that item receipt option as well. Okay, so let me just save this field. Right now I've saved it on a purchase order, and so on, right? So 1 second. Right, so you can also put these in the forms that you wanted to have, right? Any form of your choice. So you can apply to forms. This is an option wherein you can click on apply to forms, wherein you can you see this, it is applied onto the ISB um, journal entry form, and it's applied to the custom opportunity as well. Okay, because these are the only customized forms that we have created. Other than that, these are applied to the original forms directly. So I'll show you that. let's go on to the transactions and then go into purchase orders. So here, if you see, I will not be able to find the field that I've created, right? So what you can do is you go into customize and customize form, okay? And say this as cloud purchase form or something, right? And these are the different options that you have on a purchase order. So let me go into the enter purchase orders option. Okay, so there are certain tabs like item, shipping, billing, accounting, relationship, and all these. So these are the tabs that you see there: items, billing, relationships, communication, custom. You see these options in there. Okay, so these are the tabs that you can
Mm-hmm.
actually, if you do not want to show them on your purchase order form, you can disable them. So let us say you do not want to show up the relationships tab on your purchase order, right? So this relationships tabs will not be visible if you remove it from here. So let us say I do not want the relationships. Okay, and then these are your field groups. Now what exactly is a field group? So there are main, if you go here, these are you see the primary information, classification, and then the third option that you have here, right? So intercompany management is one of the field groups that you see over there. Okay, and then you have your sub items again, sub fields in those options that you see there, right? Now this is an important one. You have all the screen fields in this particular option wherein you see the screen fields, right? Under the main tab, right? Now main is this. Let me scroll down. Okay, this is my the entire main tab that I see: primary information, classification, everything comes under the main tab. Okay, and then I have the items, shipping, billing, accounting. Now these are the tabs that we already have seen here, right? If you see, these are the different tabs that you have here, like items, shipping, billing, accounting, and everything. So if I go onto the screen fields, right? So main tab is my primary information, classification that I see. Okay, that's actually the main tab that I have over there. And then under these sub tabs, you can see all these options. Under the items, you've got the exchange rate. Under the shipping, you have certain fields over here. So where is the field that we have created, right? There should be one place where every field has to go and sit in, right? So that is your custom tab. You go into the custom tab, and this is where you have your field which we have created. You see this?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when you have your fields in this way, you want to move this cloud test field onto your main field. So when I go into the purchase order, when I click on custom, this is where I have my test field that I've created as a list. You see this? I created as kgs, grams, and milligrams. So I'm able to get this under the custom tab. So if I want to move that from my custom tab to the main tab, what I have to do is there is an option called as save and move elements. Okay. Uh, Actually, this is supposed to be save between your. Okay, let's see. When I click on this, save elements between sub tabs is what I'm supposed to get actually. So let's see. I saved it. I'm creating a custom form for myself. Okay. So now if I scroll down, I go into the custom option. Okay. You see the save elements between sub tabs. This is the option that I was looking out for. So what you can do is click on this move elements between sub tabs and go into your custom tab. Click on this, and then there is a drop down called a sub tab. So I can drop down and I can select search for my main option. So I click on main and then save it. So what I'm doing is I'm moving my cloud test field onto my screen fields. So when I go onto my screen fields, when I scroll down, this is my main tab, right? This is my main tab that I moved it into. So when I scroll down, I can see my cloud test field over here. You see this?
Mm-hmm.
And from here, I can mark it as mandatory as well, just in case if you want to. And then even on my main field, I want to bring it up. I want to have that on my primary information tab, right? So what I can do is I click on this, pull this onto my primary information tab, and there you go. It's under the primary information tab now. You see this?
Mm-hmm.
So after pushing it onto the primary information tab, you can, hold this and drag it all the way up as well, wherever you want that to be. Okay, hold these 6 dots that you have here and then bring it up. You can change the display type of the field. Do you want that to be inline, or do you want that to be disabled, or do you just want that to be normal? Okay, and then this form is preferred for me right now. So when I go in, I can save this. When I get into the purchase order next time, right? When I open up enter purchase orders for that, then it automatically opens up my custom form that I've created. So this way, I've shown you two things. You see this cloud purchase order right now,
Mm-hmm.
and this is where I have my field. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want this field to be a part of the reporting, right? So you can go into the reports. Or I can see this. I can click on customize option there. Okay. And you can customize your fields this way. You see this cloud test field option? I can just drag and drop it here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I should be able to view that. As of now, we do not have any data in that field, so we'll not be able to see that. But then whenever you want, there will be, you see this cloud test field, the column has
Mm-hmm.
appeared, but there's no data in this as of now for the purchase orders. But as and when you fill out the data, that is when you will have this, let us say for one purchase order, I filled in as kilograms, the other one as grams, the other one as milligrams. So all that information would be available when I customize my reports and then, pull them onto the main screen. That's how it.
Sorry. So just show me again how you customize the report quickly.
Oh yeah, great. I'll show that to you once again. So I went into a random report. Okay. What I did was I got into the reports. I scrolled down wherein I have my purchase reports, and then I
Mm-hmm.
went into open purchase orders, let us say. Okay. So this is my open purchase orders option. So there is something called as customize over here. You see this?
Mm-hmm.
You can click on customize, and there are some, under this, you have the options wherein you can pull in custom body fields or any field for that matter, not only the custom body field, but any field of your choice. You can just drag and drop it onto your report, and you can move it.
Okay.
Okay. So this is how you customize your reports. Now, usually on a standard report, let us say, let me go back to the report.
Got it. Got it.
Okay, so these are the standard fields that usually a report has. So any standard report that you go into, there are certain fields, but then you can pull any field of your choice onto your report. Any field that is there on the transaction, you can pull it up and make it a part of the report, just like the way I've done it now. Okay,
Got it.
got it. That's great. Let's close down the report customization part, because you can explore that, the additional options that you have on that later on. Okay, so now what I'm going to show is, let us see how you import your CSV records.
Okay. Good.
because this is very important for your migration, right?
Right.
So let's do that. Now, where do you go to import? Setup, import, export, and then import CSV records. Okay. So when you go
Okay.
here, you have all your options, like what is your import type. Now, the first import type is accounting. So under the accounting, you have chart of accounts, you have consolidated exchange rates, fair value price, the item accounting, mapping, item collection. But usually, right, out of all these options that you have here, there are a few options that you would actually, one is chart of accounts, the other one is consolidated exchange rates, and the other one is currency exchange rates. So these are the only few options that any business would actually use while they are importing from the accounting. So under the accounting, you have activities, right? You've got classification is nothing but your subsidiary class department, right? You have your class department location. So these are the subsidiaries that you actually have. Okay. So these are the only four types which are used under the classification. And then uh, under the custom records, if you go into the custom records, give me a second, someone's at the door, sorry. So under the custom records, you will have all related to Celigo connectors, because this is a connector which is used, and then you can have all your fixed assets management related stuff. When you have a fixed assets installed, the bundle when it is installed, that is when you can see the custom records under here. And under the relationships, you will have customers contacts, all these things. So you can explore all the types that you have, right? I mean, all the import types that you have, you can just go through them, whatever you see there. So as of now, what we'll do is we will import one item, okay, an inventory
Mm-hmm.
item that can be imported. So even under the items, you have all different options, like an item group or a kit package item, a lot number item, a markup item, non-inventory item, all these options that you would see there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So give me 1 second. I'll have to figure out if I have the inventory template open for you. But before that, okay. So this is how you will be seeing the templates, right? These are the CSV templates. Um, I don't know if your client already has got these sample templates from the implementation partner that they've been working with, but usually this is how the templates would be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, all the mandatory fields would be marked in red, right? And
Mm-hmm.
everything that's in black is not a mandatory field. So you will have the description of that particular field under that. What exactly is this name? Enter a unique name for the fixed asset, right? And then asset type, what would be an asset type, what needs to be done, and then a sample data also will be given as part of the data migration that you do. Okay. Now what you see here right on the top is your field ID. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to worry much about the field ID, because that is a backend record which would be available. Okay. But then the field ID is something which is useful for the technical people, but then for importing of your records, you don't need this. Okay. All you
Mm-hmm.
need is the description. So when you are importing this into, let us say the field transactions, or any importing of the importing of your let's say records, transactions, or item fields, or whatever it is, in that case, what happens is, whatever field that you have on your CSV, it
Mm-hmm.
automatically gets mapped to the NetSuite fields. Okay, so let me show that to you. Let me pull up a inventory sample. Okay, so this is an inventory sample that I have created for you. All right, so these are my items that I'm going to create for you. Okay, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying test item training 1 2 3 4 5. These are the description of my items. Let me just, they are already in the system, then obviously you will not be able to import them. Yeah, they're not there. So one thing that you have to validate when you are creating your, right, when you're creating your fields, is that there are certain master data which already exists, right? Like my stock unit, purchase unit, sale unit. So all I have to see is if these unit types and if these units are already in the system or not, because that is a master data which is there in the system, right? So let's go into lists, accounting, and then units of measure. And let me open this weight part. Okay, this is a weight option that I opened it here. So see, under this weight, you have your kilogram and you have your pound. However, in my sheet, I have grams as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you are putting in, uh, you know, uh, any field which does not exist within NetSuite, then system throws an error automatically. Because if grams is not there, it's not going to pick up grams, and then it will not, because these are all the list types which are already, which have to be in the master data type, right?
Right.
Agreed? Right.
Yes.
That's one thing. So now what I have to do is, do you want me to create the grams here straight away? Do you want to do you want to see how the error looks like?
Yes, let's try it.
Uh, you want to try and import this first, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Because you have to see how the errors are going to look like, and you have to see how you want to resolve them as well. Okay,
Right.
let's do that then. And one more thing, these are my external IDs that I can map with these items, and then there is a subsidiary option as well. So let me see that. Let's go into this 1 second. Okay, um, and here is where you can update your custom field as well. Okay, the field that I might have created. You see, okay, that's not there. So if you have a field, right, if you have a custom field which is already created on the item record, then you can map that custom field here as well, just like this, like the way this is there, you can do that as well. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you how to map that, by the way. So give me 1 second. Now, this one is important. So I have mentioned the subsidiary as 9. What does that mean? When I go into the subsidiary, okay, so these are the internal IDs of my subsidiaries.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I can do is I can specify what is the internal ID over there and map that internal ID directly. So I'll show you how to map my internal. Number 9 is not there. I think it's inactive, or something must have happened. So what I do is, let me show the actives. All right, so let me make that 11 instead of 9, or else I'm going to get an error. So I go into setup, import export, import CSV records, and then I go into inventory items, scroll down. I'm going to select my field, which is select my file, which is this. And by the way, this file has to be in the CSV format, not in the Excel.
Right.
Okay. So whenever you are, saving it, you have to click on save as, and then select the CSV comma delimited. This is the file. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ready? Let me go back to NetSuite. Okay. Now, when I click on next, I'm adding it. So there are options: add, update, add or update. What this does is adding is we are adding new items into the NetSuite. Now, update, what does that mean? Update means, whenever you have your item already created, let us say the transaction is already created. And what do you do after that? Maybe you want to update only a particular record of, after creating that. So you can actually click on update over there. So you will specify what is the external ID. You will specify, maybe you can do that either on an external ID or on an internal ID. Okay. And then you can click on update. So what does add or update do? Let us say in the same CSV file, you have, um, 5 records to add and another 5 records to update. So you can click on add or update. So what if the record exists, it will go and update. If not, it will add it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain advanced options as well, right? Like override the missing fields, right? This comes as part of the update actually, right? And then run server suite script and trigger workflows. So if there is a workflow associated with that particular transaction, do you want to, update that or not is what it means. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I click on next, and then if you see, most of the fields that I have here are mapped automatically. The external ID is mapped with the external ID on the right hand side. So this left hand side is your NetSuite, I'm sorry, the CSV fields, and the right hand side is your NetSuite fields. Okay. So if you see, everything is mapped automatically. Now the text tax schedule is not mapped because I have not provided my, the tax schedule in my CSV template. And that is
Mm-hmm.
the reason it is not mapped on this. However, it is a mandatory field when it comes to an item record. Okay. So what the system
Mm-hmm.
is trying to indicate is that whenever it says required, okay, which means this is a mandatory field. So if I have not mapped it in the CSV file, then I can click on this little pencil icon that I have here, and then I can select if that should be non-taxable, taxable, or whatever it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do this, let us say if you do this and on your CSV template, you have your 1,000 records, right? So for all those 1,000 records, it will be only one option which will go down as, like it is, I mean, for all those 1,000 items that you create, the tax schedule will be non-taxable. So if you want to have different tax schedules, then you have to maintain that in your CSV file. I hope you understood that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a hard-coded way, right? So if you are hard coding it here, so it's going to be single value for all the options that all the item records that you have there. So you may not want to do that, right? Rather, what you want to do, you have to maintain another field here, which is like tax schedule. Okay. And then
Mm-hmm.
here you can say one as non-taxable, the other one as taxable, so on and so forth. So when you do it here, sorry, if you remember on the, we have specified an internal ID on my subsidiary, right? So what you can do is you can click on this pencil symbol here, right? On the subsidiary, this pencil icon. And when you do that, there is an option wherein you can either specify an internal ID or an external ID for this. Okay. So I say internal ID for this, or you can hard code this as well. I can select my subsidiary directly, but then same option again. If you are hard coding, then everything comes up as a single subsidiary, which we do not want to happen, right? So we can specify it as internal ID. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then why did these not get mapped automatically? My stock unit, my purchase unit, and sale unit. I'll show that to you.
Yeah.
So I can click on this.
Mm-hmm.
I can click on this, and then when I search for my stock unit again, right? You see this? On my NetSuite side, this is actually specified as primary stock unit, and that is the reason, it was not mapped automatically. Similarly, I can go for my purchase units, and then you see this primary units. Okay, that's a unit type. Primary purchase unit. So I click on that, it gets mapped. Okay, and then I scroll down and I select sale unit. What is my primary sale unit? Here you go. That is where it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions on that?
No question.
Great. So let me see if we also have an ATP type. Default ATP, it is not there. Okay, it's fine. Cost category description. We should have an item description, right? Okay, detailed description is there. So let's map that to the detailed description. All right. Okay, so after doing this, I can click on next. Now there is an option where you can save your mapping. Okay, because if you get any errors, which is bound to happen, so I click on this import job status, and I'm going to see what happened. So this this import did not go through. I've got errors, so we'll see what is the error. Click on the CSV response, and you will see what the error is. What is the error? You see this invalid sale unit reference key grams. So that is not going to my unit types. Edit this and give grams. Oh, sorry. Give grams here.
Mm-hmm.
Some abbreviation and 1000 grams is 1 kg. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Save it. So now that I have grams, was that grams as it was? Yeah. Now that I have grams, I go back to my setup. Instead of going into my import CSV records, I go into my saved CSV imports this time. All right. So I click on that. And there is something called as inventory, item inventory. This is the one that I have created, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you remember. So now let's go to click on item inventory. Scroll down. You can select the same file that we have. Click on next. And this time you don't have to do the mapping because the mapping is already available for us. I just clicked on the saved CSV imports, right? So you see the mapping is already there for us. Okay. And by the way, there are a lot of fields on the inventory. So the mapping already exists. Now I can click on next. And yeah, I was saying that there are a lot of fields which you can import on an item record. Okay, but I have picked up a few fields to show you how things work, and few fields which are actually mandatory, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I've done. Now click on save and run. And let us see if we encounter any other errors. Okay, there you go. There's another error. So we'll see what that error is. Going to the results. Subsidiary restriction COGS account. Okay. COGS account. Me. Under accounting preferences, there are particular items. So let me go into that chart of accounts, accounting preferences. Somebody must have changed the COGS account. So let me see that. There you go. This account. Okay. So 201A. What I'll do is let me go into the chart of accounts. 201A. I'm just extending this account. Location. Okay, restrict to location. That is why it is. Let's remove that. Okay, so I just removed it. It was restricted to one particular location. So that is the reason it was saying that it is a part of that subsidiary. So I removed that location restriction over there, and I've extended this account to, just to ensure that it is a part of all the subsidiaries. Okay. Now going to saved CSV imports again. Click on item inventory. Next. Oh, sorry, I didn't upload the file. All right, so let's see if we are able to import it now, or let's see if we get any other error. Okay, I think it's going through because, yeah, there you go. You see this? So all these records have been imported right now. So if I go into my lists, accounting items, and then I pull in my inventory item, you see all these records here. Okay.
So quick question, right? Quick question.
Yeah.
So where can I see a history of all the job status? How do I get there?
History of all that you have imported, you mean to say?
Yes.
Okay. So you can go here. You can go into this export and then go into the status. There's something called as view CSV import status, right? So this is where
Okay.
you have all this information.
Okay.
So you
Yeah.
cannot see what is the file which has been used. You cannot download that file from here, but then you can just see what is the CSV response. But here it will not show anything. It says all records import successful.
Oh, okay. So if I wanted to see the file, how can I see the file? Because if it had an error, I would see the file, right?
No error. If you are getting an error, then this is how the file looks like. You can okay, by the way, so if you have the error, right? So if you exclude this error part, then this is your file.
Right.
You can download it from there. So you have an error here. When you click on the CSV response, the first column is going to be your error, and if you exclude that, the rest of it is going to be your
Your file.
data that you have there.
Okay. So if I have multiple errors, will I have multiple error columns or just one column?
That's a bit of a challenge on NetSuite. NetSuite would actually give you one error at a time.
Okay.
It won't give you multiple errors. It won't show you how that works. So if you are resolving one error, let us say you have 5 errors, right? You're going to get the main error first. Okay. And all you got to do is resolve that. And if you import it again, that is when you will see the other error again. Unfortunately, NetSuite does not validate the entire file at once.
Got it.
Okay. You understood that?
Got it. Yes.
All right.
Okay. So
So, sorry.
so is there any way I can see a history of the imports? No.
History of the imports.
Yeah, I mean the original file that was imported.
No, the original file that was imported will be only with the user who has imported that.
Okay. All right.
But if he's getting an error, let us say, right? Just in case if he gets the error, that is when you will be able to see the file. Because this is the original file, right? So if you click on this CSV response and download this, then obviously the original file is going to be there, but with an
Okay.
error in the first column. That's it. The entire other
Okay.
option would still be there.
Got it.
If you exclude this, that will be your original file.
Makes sense.
Okay, so that's about importing. This is how you import. This is how you have to do that. And all the records that you have here have been successfully imported. Now, let me show you one other thing. So I've imported this. When I go into my view, I mean, when I'm viewing my record, okay, so these are all the fields that I've given, my my primary stock unit, my purchase unit, my sale unit, and everything. I have also given what's going to be my subsidiary on this item, right? However, there are okay, I've given all these things as well. What's going to be my purchase price, okay? And these are the preferences, okay? I said I want to use preferences as part of the accounting preference that I've done. I said I want the track landed cost, right? Use bins. So all these have come as part of my accounting preferences. Likewise, if I go into my accounting, so you see this COGS account right now, the COGS account, the income account, okay? All these have been set up as part of my preference. Okay, so for any item that I'm going to import, these accounts will be picked up from my accounting preferences. However, you can override them as well. When you are importing your items, when you're importing your records, then you can override your options that you have here. What I meant to say was I can specify when I'm importing, I can specify what's going to be my COGS account over here. I can say this is what is going to be my COGS account. I do not want the 6015 amortization. I want 6016 amortization account. So I can specify that, and NetSuite overrides that option there. Okay.
Right.
Now, one important thing that I wanted to let you know was, if you want to, let us say, on the subsidiaries, I have taken my internal ID, like 14 as my internal ID, right? But if I want to specify my name as as in whatever I want to do it, then this is how it works. I have to specify what my parent account is going to be, like this. Let me pull up a notepad for you. I need to specify what's my parent subsidiary, and then colon, what's going to be my next parent subsidiary. It's going to be the Canada. And then I have to specify my original subsidiary. This is how it works. If you are not specifying the hierarchy, system throws an error. So instead of doing this, instead of specifying what's going to be my hierarchy and all these things, we can actually specify what is the internal ID. By doing that, you don't have to specify the hierarchy at all.
Sorry, could you please just repeat that?
I'll repeat that again. Yeah. I'll repeat that again. So on my Excel sheet, on my CSV import, I have set subsidiary is 11, which is the internal ID, correct? Now, instead of 11, if you want to specify what's the name of the subsidiary, then this is how it works. You have to specify what is the parent subsidiary.
Wow.
Then put up a colon. Yeah, that's a bit of a challenge on
No.
You have to specify a colon, and then my sky zone, right? Canada is my next parent subsidiary. So I've got to put up a colon, and then I've got to put in the sky zone. So to avoid all these things, I've put up 11 as my internal ID. That's a little easier for us to do it, right?
Yes, that makes sense.
That's how it works. And also, same thing, same holds good with the account as well. When I say my 201A COGS account like this, it's not going to work out. I have to specify what is my parent chart of account for that. Let us say there is a parent chart of account, which is 200 for that. This is how I've got to specify. Something like this. So this is my parent account, and this is my account that I want to specify. So this is how it works. Okay. You have any questions for me?
No question.
Alrighty. So we are done with the CSV imports. Let's jump on to the transactions that you wanted to see for a long time. Okay.
Okay.
That's great. So the first transaction is, let us say we'll take one business case wherein we are purchasing an item for a certain amount. Okay. We are taking that into the inventory, and then we will sell that particular item to one of the customers, and then we'll make some profit. So we'll see how all these transactions are going to work out along with your GL impacts on there. So today, I'm just going to take you through the purchase order process because we will not have time. We will work on the sale order process tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
Along with the returns as well. I'm going to show you how the purchase returns work and how the sales returns and all these things are going to work. Okay. Great. So before jumping onto the purchase orders, I wanted to show you what exactly is your purchase contract and what is your blanket purchase order as well. Okay. So let's go into entering the purchase contract. I'm going to select a vendor, Advent Global Solutions, let us say. Okay. This is my subsidiary, which, okay, let me pull up. Okay, the vendor has that subsidiary, which is fine. So yeah, that's fine. So now I'm going to pull up an item which is available. Okay, so the reason why we do not have our items that we have created here, right? So let me go back to the items that we have created. Now your question could be, why don't we see our items over there, right? The reason behind that is on this, the subsidiary that we have specified for this item is something else. Okay. The subsidiary specified is SkyZone. However, if you specify like this, okay, if you make this item available for all the subsidiaries, I'm saying my parent subsidiary is this, but I'm making it available for include children, which means it's going to be available for all my subsidiaries. Okay. So let me save this. This is test items 5. Okay. Now let me go back to my purchase contract and refresh this. Let's say Advent Global Solutions, and then check on the item. You see this? It's available for selection now. Why do you think so?
Because you applied it, or what?
Absolutely. So if this particular item that we have created, we created that for a single subsidiary earlier, which was my Canada, correct?
Yeah.
But what I've done right now is I've extended that item to be available for all the subsidiaries. Not only the single subsidiary, but I've just put in so that it will be available for all the subsidiaries. The main branch is my main subsidiary, and I've made it available for everything. Okay. And that is the reason I have this available. So let's do this. Now, the original purchase price, the normal purchase price of this particular item is $1,000. Okay. But why I'm creating this contract is that when I select this particular item with this vendor, the Advent Global Solutions, then I'm going to get it for only $990. Okay. I'm just saying that if I select a combination of this particular item and what is the start date, That is 27th April 2024 till end of April 30th. I say if I purchase this item from this vendor before April 30th, then I should get this purchase price for, let's say, only $950. Okay. I'll select that and save it. Education. Somebody has made this column as mandatory, and that is the reason we're not able to save that.
Mm-hmm.
So I selected that field and I've put in a purchase contract right now. Okay. So usually I'll show you something. I go into the transactions, purchases, and enter purchase orders. Okay. And I'm going to select my vendor. Let's say my vendor is Dean and not Advent Global Solutions. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've selected Dean. Oops. Somebody has put up a script, I think. Wow. What's happening? Let's close down this. I don't know if someone selected that vendor on the script, but let us see. Let's try to select other. Oh no. Range error, maximum call, stack size, unexpected running scripts on this page. Custom script 138. Okay, somebody must have done this. Let's see. We'll go into customization, scripting, and scripts. Is there a custom script called 138? Yeah, there you go. This is what it is, custom script 138. Now let us edit this. Okay, somebody's trying to set up a memo over there and it doesn't seem to be working. So let's make it inactive. Okay. You understood what I'm trying to do here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has created a script on that purchase order, which is preventing us from creating a purchase order. I think the script went wrong and they are not able to do that. So let's try this. I've deactivated that. So let's select Dean. Done. So I deactivated that. Now I go into the Dean and now there are two options. One is an expense. Since we have enabled the option wherein I've put up my expenses as well, but when I click on items and I'm going to select my item, which is test training item 5, I believe, right? Yeah. You see this? It's
Mm-hmm.
picking up 641. Why is this our item? One second. What is the item that we have here? Okay, it's picking up 641. Why? Okay, so here the costing method we have selected as average, right? So this picks up the average of the purchases that we have done so far, and that's the reason it is picking up something else. So let's do one thing. So as of now, if you see, the purchase contract will not be available because we have selected a different vendor. So let's go in and select Advent Global Solutions. And now I can select my purchase contract, which I've created. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So by doing that, when I go into my items and when I select my item, which is test items 5, you see this rate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's picking up the rate from there, from my purchase contract. That is how your purchase contracts will work. Any question on this?
No.
Great. So let us explore the purchase order form right now. So you have your custom form which we created, and there is a custom test field also that we have done. Let's pull that information. Okay. And this is the employee who's trying to, I don't know what this is. Okay. So you can enter the purchase order for one of the employees. If you're thinking that, you are purchasing a laptop and you're purchasing it for a certain employee, then you can select this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is a purchase order approval. You can you can put it as a pending approval, or if you put it as pending approval, then it goes to the next approver, whoever is approving your purchase order. If you have a workflow in place, then it goes to that particular person. Okay. And here is where you select your location. Okay. Along with items, you can also put in some expenses for this. Let us say I have some, I have paid some advances, okay, which is for $500. Okay. And I can select what location have I made it for, what class did I do it for, and what is the department that I've done it for. First, this subsidiary looks like there's no department created, and that is the reason you're not getting it. Now, you had one question, right? When creating your projects, you wanted to see how you link your journal entries, purchase orders, and sale orders. This is how it is. You can, these are your projects, and this is your project task in that project. So I can select it shows as customer, but this is my project. If I have any task created on my project, then this is how I select it over here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to see if this is billable or not. I can select, you see this?
Mm-hmm.
There's a little checkbox. So if it is billable to the client, then you can select this billable option that you have here. Okay. This is the activity code on the project again. These are the divisions. This is custom segment, by the way. If you remember, I have created the custom segments and I made it available to be available on my purchase order line level, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I can end this and coming to the billing tab. Okay, you can select your vendor. That is, just the Incoterms and payment terms that you want to select on this particular vendor.
Right.
Okay.
Well, quick question though, before you
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah.
The last time you created a custom field when we started, is
Huh?
it available on this purchase order?
Yeah, there you go. I've selected it, right? You see this cloud test field?
Okay, got it. Send it, send it. Yeah. Okay, cool.
That's the same custom field that we created. And since I have selected my cloud purchase order as a custom form, this field will be available. And I have made this cloud purchase order form as my default selection.
Okay.
Okay, that is the reason it's available, or else it will not be available when we don't do that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the communication tab, wherein you might want to put in some messages to your vendor to be emailed. If you click on this to be emailed, the purchase order will be emailed. The approval routing is enabled. Please contact your workflow administrator. That is what it says before putting in an email. So you can put in what is the message for your vendor. You can create certain events. You can create, if you have made certain phone calls, you can see what is the subject of this phone call, right? Whoever has done that, your purchase clerk or whatever it is, you can pull in some files. You can attach a few files and add them here. All these things can be done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now this is my custom tab. So actually my custom field, which is cloud test field, should have been in this custom tab, but I pulled it on to be available on the primary main tab, if you remember, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is the reason it is available here, or else this particular cloud test field option should have been here under this custom tab.
Mm-hmm.
And then the accounting books, and this is for the Celigo connectors, which we don't work on. So let me save your purchase order form. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my purchase order is saved right now and it is pending approval.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So where do I go and approve?
Sorry.
So the next step will be the approval, right?
Right. If you usually, if you have your workflows in place and if you have enabled them, then the approve button will appear over here, or else you can just get in and then do an approve here. Okay.
Okay. So
Now, since
yeah.
I'm an administrator, I have access to approve that. Usually what happens is either, sorry.
No, go on.
Okay, so usually if you have your workflows in place, right, you can define the role on that workflow, who is going to be your next approver, and that approval, I mean, the approve button, which is there on that particular form will be available only for the purchase order, purchase manager.
Right. Okay, so but let's say I'm the purchase manager and I go in. So where do I see all the purchase orders pending approval?
Okay. Uh, the reminders is not set up, I think. Let me set it up. Okay. So when you go to your portlets,
Mm-hmm.
there is something called as reminders. Okay. Looks like it's not there. Hey, there you go. You see this?
Mm-hmm.
So you will have purchase orders to approve, purchase orders to bill. All these things will be there. So purchase orders to bill. Right now, I have 4 purchase orders to be billed. I can click on this and I'll be able to see all those purchase orders which need to be billed like
Mm-hmm.
this. So similarly, I can also say I can set up purchase orders to approve, which is not there as of now. Scroll down, go to your orders to approve, purchase orders to approve. Purchase orders to approve. Where is that? Purchase requests to approve. Oh, purchase orders to print. Uh, Oops. Well, purchase orders to approve. Well, I don't know why is it not there, but usually that orders to approve. Does it say orders to approve? Orders to receive, orders to ship, orders to pack. I don't know why is it bills to approve is there, but it will be up. So you have to select them, and that is when it will be visible for the administrators to just click on that and approve it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions on that?
No, no.
Okay. So now that we have created the purchase order, if you refresh this purchase contract, you will see what is the purchased amount, because we have linked this purchase contract with the purchase order that we have done, and it will show you what is the amount which has been going through this particular purchase contract.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go back to our purchase order. Advent Global Solutions. This is the purchase. Oh, I think this is not the one. Is this the one? No. Yeah, this is the one, because we also have the advances paid, right? So advances paid is $500, and then on the items it's about 900 and whatever. I mean, including the tax, it's 997, because 5% is your tax. $997.50. Okay, so if you see the GL impact after creating your purchase orders, this is a non-posting transaction, by the way. Okay,
Right.
If you see, this does not post. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
this $950 would be on your inventory debit. Okay, because that's your inventory account that we have selected. And and then purchase orders, this $950 will be booked on this purchase orders as a credit, and then $500 also will be booked as a credit on the same purchase orders, which is for the advances paid. Okay, and this is your tax
Mm-hmm.
account, by the way. $47.50 will be a tax account, so this will be a debit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you do the item receipt, that is when this $1497.50 will be moved out of your purchase order, and that will hit the purchase order debit, and then it will get credited onto the inventory once you take in the inventory. Once you purchase, I mean, once you receive the inventory, that is when it will hit your inventory account as a credit. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so let's close this down. And there are two ways of doing your item receipt. One is click on this receive option here, or you can go into transactions, purchases, and then receive orders as well. Okay, so if you go into this receive orders, you will have your purchase order to receive over here. It is there already. So it will take you to the same page wherever you click it from. You click it from receive on the purchase order, or you receive it, I mean, you click on the receive from your receive orders, it will take you back to the same item receipt page. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
got it?
Mm-hmm.
So on the item receipt, you have your divisions again. This is a custom segment that we created. You can select that, and location is by default, it is coming from the purchase order, which is cloud location that I have selected. Okay, now how do you enter your landed cost? Okay, so if you select this landed cost per line option, right, there is an option called as landed cost per line. If you select this, there is a little icon that gets selected over here. You see this? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so click on this, select the landed cost. I don't know if the template is okay. The landed cost template is not there. We have to create a landed cost template. I go into accounting and accounting lists. Under the accounting lists, uh, cost category, cost, hold on, there's a cost category. I click on new. Okay, I say this as landed cost category, and I can pull up an expense account for this. I don't know if there is one for landed cost already, but yeah, I think it's not there, but that's okay. I can take any expense account. Let's see. Okay, let's take this expense account and save it. Let's go back to the item receipt, refresh this, because we've created a new category now. So let's select landed cost, landed cost. See this landed cost category has come up, and I'll take the amount as $50. So my landed cost for this item is, let us say, $50. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one way of doing it. When you click on this landed cost per line, you can click on this and give the landed cost over there. Or you can click on this landed cost option, and then you can specify what is your landed cost category right here.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of doing it at the line level. So sometimes you might want to do it at the line level because, let us say there are 5 different items and you might have landed cost for 5 different options, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is the reason if you select at the line level, you can specify $50 for one line, $20 for the other, 25 for the other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
let's save the item receipt. So what we're trying to do right now is this quantity, one quantity, we are trying to, shall we change the quantity a bit? I mean, it's too less, right? One quantity that we have here. Let's do that. Okay, I think I can still receive it a little more than what it is. Oops. Okay, I think allow overage on item receipt. We have not selected that, and that is the reason it's not there. That's okay. So if you go back to your item, let's open up the item. Scroll down. You see this? Location wise, NetSuite will give you the available quantity of your item. Okay. And by the way, do you know the concept of this reorder point, preferred stock level? I think you know how that works, right?
Yeah, but if you remember what I mentioned to you, I'm not working in an inventory environment.
Mm.
So I'm working in a service environment, like my client is a service company.
No, it's the same concept. I mean, whichever ERP you work for, it's the same concept. How the reorder point, the safety stock level, your preferred stock level, all these things are gonna work.
No, no, no. I mean, what I'm saying is my client is in a service industry. They don't carry inventory.
Okay, perfect. Then that should be fine. Then usually, yeah, you told me that already. So you don't need this concept. That should be fine. So as of now,
Yeah,
there's no quantity available.
yeah, but
Uh,
I understand the whole reorder level, yeah, because you don't want your stock to go beyond a particular level before you place another order.
yeah,
You want to have a
exactly,
safety
exactly.
margin. So
Perfect, perfect.
technically, I understand the theoretical um, explanation for that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So since I have selected bin as mandatory, it is asking me to select the bin where you want to take this item into. Okay. Uh, okay. Prepaid expense account cannot be. Okay. Okay. Got it. Let me go into the landed cost again. What is the account? 117 is the account that I've selected. So let's go back to our chart of accounts. You know what the issue is now, right? Because 117 is not extended to be a part of that Canada subsidiary. And that's how it is saying it won't work out. So let me go into this prepaid expenses account and let me
Mhm.
extend this to all the subsidiaries. Okay.
Okay.
Now it's going to work. I've extended it. Let's close it down. Go back to my item receipt. Refresh this a bit because I made some changes. And then click on save. Oops. I've got to select my bin. Quantity is going to be 1. All right. So the item receipt is done right now. So if you go to your inventory item,
Mhm.
refresh it, then scroll down to the location that you have selected. You see this? Quantity on hand is 1. Uh, okay. This is because, you have selected different units for each. What is your stock unit, sale unit and base unit and all, right? So that is the reason this is showing up in this way, but that's okay. Quantity on hand base unit is just 1. So I have 1 kilogram only. 950 is the value. Average cost is $430. Okay. So if you create another sale order, that is when it will show up on the quantity on order. So let me go back to your item receipt and show you the GL impact of this. This is a posting transaction, by the way. So you see this, it moved out of the 1200 inventory. Earlier credit was on the 1200 inventory, and then it got posted to the inventory received not billed. Okay. Which means we have the inventory with us right now and it is not billed yet. So that is the account which it got posted to. Okay.
Got it. Got it. Got it. That makes sense.
That's about the item receipt. So for billing this item receipt, again, you have two options. One is you can click from here, or you can go to transactions, purchases, and then go to payables, and then enter bills. Okay. You can do it from here as well.
So that means that you can't convert your purchase order straight to a bill. You have to go through the item receipt.
No, that is a preference, right? So bill in advance of item receipt, there is one accounting preference. You can do that. You know, even before you do the item receipt, you still can be able to do the bill.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That's a preference on the accounting preferences. So I click on this bill right now. Close out this inventory item. Okay. So on the bill, you have your approval status, and you've got your the amount that needs to be there. So all these things can be done. Okay. So $950 is this, expenses is another $500. And this is where you have your amortization. We spoke about the amortization schedule, right? If you want this to be amortized, then you will have to create a new amortization schedule, and you can apply that amortization schedule to your bill. Okay. And the amortization start date and end date will pick up automatically. So you can select what's your custom segment over here. Adjust here. This is a custom field that somebody has created. You see this? So whenever there is a custom field, this is how the field help looks like.
So, so this is how you enter the bill, right?
Right.
Right. So since we're talking about the accounts payable process, what if you want to automate this process, right? As against having all this manual, um, is there any application that integrates perfectly with NetSuite?
Yes, bill.com.
So does Bill.com integrate perfectly with NetSuite?
No, it doesn't. It's a separate application, by the way.
I know, but because I'm so familiar with Bill.com, I've used it with
Oh, it does
QuickBooks.
integrate. Absolutely. It integrates. Yes.
Okay, and it works very well with NetSuite.
Absolutely, it does. So bill.com is specifically, there is an integration built exclusively for the bill.com. So it does work. Yes, you can
Okay,
integrate
perfect,
bill.com very well.
perfect. Because right now we have maybe tomorrow I will show you the NetSuite instance from my client because now I have access to that. We have a very manual payables process. So I'm looking at how to automate that, make it less manual. Okay, that's good. All right.
Okay, so I have completed the bill, right? I have saved the bill. Well, there is a little glitch with NetSuite. It doesn't stay on the bill page when you do that. Okay, you have to go into your recent records, and that is where you will find the bill, or else you can go onto the bill as well. Directly, you can go to the bills list, and that is where you would find the bill. Okay. So you see this, the bill is created, and you can actually make a payment, or you can authorize the return as well. If you just want to authorize the return, as of now, we'll make the payment. But before doing that, let's go into the GL impact. So the inventory received not billed is going to be a debit right now. and then it'll move on to the accounts payable. Okay. Earlier, inventory received not
Yeah.
billed was a credit. So from the item receipt, we are moving into the bill. So that is the reason inventory received not billed is going to be a debit, and it'll move on to the accounts payable as a credit. So once you make the payment, right, this $1497.50 will move out of the accounts payable as a debit. And then when when you make the payment, it's going to be a credit on the bank account. That is your final GL impact as far as your purchase order is concerned. Okay.
Right. Then also, right, since we're talking about this payable process, is there any report I can run at the vendor level that can show me the total transactions, the total bills that we have received from all the vendor? Like, so let's say I want to do like a vendor audit. I want to see what the history is.
You see this?
So, so that's the AP agent, right? The AP agent shows me the outstanding bills.
Okay.
Yeah, so but this is not what I want because if the bill is not outstanding, so let's say I want to see a detailed vendor history because the AP agent is always going to show me what has not been paid, right? So if I've
Ah,
paid the vendor, it's not going to show up on the AP agent. So I want to see like a detailed vendor transaction record. Like I want to see all the vendors we have, how much have we received from them in billing, say over a period of time. You
yeah. So
understand what I
you
mean?
absolutely. So you have all those reports in here. So if you go into your purchases, right? So you have your open purchase orders, you have purchase order history, right? You can open the purchase order history, and this will be, and this there is a purchase order by vendor as well. So you can scroll down, you see this purchases by vendor, you can get this information as well. So by vendor, what is the total amount which you have dealt with?
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Purchases by vendor. Okay, I like this report.
Yeah,
I like this
it's a,
report because if we don't use the purchase order, because we don't use purchase orders right now, so I may not have anything there, but this report is going to work. Yeah.
absolutely. So if you come to this report, there are so many options that you can see. You can either get it as a graph, okay,
Hmm.
and then you can expand this, or you can collapse that, or you can just print it onto a PDF, get it onto a CSV report, right? A Word document, you can email it, you can print it, you can set it up as a reminder, and you can email that to certain people as well. So just in case if you want this report to be sent out to a few people, then you can do that as well.
And if I want to customize this field, right, like if I want to compare to say last year, can I do that here? Is it possible? Can I customize?
Yeah. Every report is customizable. You see this customize option,
Uh-huh.
you can click on customize report, and then you have certain filters. You have, when you click on this more options, that is when you can have, the other things as well. So you can, you see this, you can select the roles, you can select the subsidiaries, you can select the employees and departments where this report has to be confined to. And then when it comes to your access, right, you can give access to certain people, those options will be there. And this is where you can actually set up the email option as well.
Okay. But what if I want to compare the purchase history this year to last year? How can I do that here?
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, you have this filters, you see this date range,
Uh-huh.
you can select the date range, and you can give what date you want to. Let us say you just want the 2023 part, so you can do that as well.
Okay, let's see that because I want to see the history. I want to see the purchases this month, sorry, this year, and I want to see the purchases last year on the same report. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So there's no data as of now. From Jan 23rd to April 30th, there are no purchase transactions here, and that is the reason it's not visible. But then if you wanted to, let's say for maybe January 2021, 2024, I don't know if someone has put in the purchase orders for that period, but let's see that as well. Okay.
Hmm.
You can do that. I mean, you can change the dates, you can change your locations, you can filter it by subsidiaries. You see this? You have a subsidiary filter as well.
Yeah,
This is a
yeah, yeah,
consult.
yeah, 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 Kelly. I mean, so I mean, the question I'm asking, I understand I can change the dates, right? So what I'm saying is, I want to show two columns, one for this year one for last year. Like I want to show a comparative. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I want to compare if I run the purchase history for this year in one column. So I want the same purchase history for last year in another column on the same report. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like a
Mm.
comparative. Say like a budget versus actual, something like that. So like two columns on the same report for showing the vendor transactions for this year and last year.
Yeah. So, see, you have a lot of options when you're coming to the purchase customization, right? So, under the customization, you have to explore if you have all these options available. And I'm pretty sure there would be certain options wherein you can put in the date, maybe two date columns, and then from there you can actually uh, pull in two different columns. Okay, so that's what is your GL impact on your bill. So let's make the payment and then we'll see the final GL impact for today. I think we can close out the session and then we can resume tomorrow. Okay,
Okay.
I'm going to make a payment here. So if you see, the bank account is selected by default because I've put it as part of my preferences over there. Okay, so there's a bill credit. You see this? There is a bill credit already for this customers, which is for $1,050. So if I select that, then the credit will be applied automatically. Looks like there must be a return transaction which was there for this particular vendor, and that is the reason the bill credit is always there. It's up to you if you want to apply while making the payment or not. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you can select the location, class, department, and everything. So once I make this payment, let's not select the credit. We'll make the full payment for $1,468.50. And then, as I said, the bank account is going to be a credit and accounts payable will be a debit,
Mm-hmm.
just like this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's a discount that got applied for $29, and that is the reason you see this discount as well. So yeah, that's about the purchase order process.